The air outside the Hall of Honor shimmered with the crisp chill of early morning. Flags fluttered in perfect rows, catching the first gold rays of sunlight that filtered over the naval base. It was supposed to be a proud day, the promotion ceremony of Captain Ryan Hayes, her younger brother. Emma adjusted the brim of her cap and took a deep breath before stepping toward the main gate. Her uniform was immaculate, freshly pressed whites, service ribbons polished until they caught the light. The faint scent of jet fuel and sea salt drifted in from the nearby docks. A security checkpoint stood ahead, manned by young ensigns holding digital tablets. Each guest passed through after having their names checked and confirmed. Applause and laughter echoed from inside the hall. The ceremony had already begun. When Emma reached the table, a nervous-looking ensign straightened his posture. "Name and designation, ma'am?" "Commander Emma Hayes." "I'm here for Admiral," she caught herself, realizing how odd it felt to say it aloud. "For Captain Ryan Hayes's promotion ceremony." The ensign scrolled through his tablet, then frowned. His finger moved up, then down again. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't see your name on the guest list." Emma blinked. "Check again." He turned the screen toward her. Nothing. Behind her, a couple in formal attire exchanged confused looks. Someone in line whispered, "Isn't that the commander who served in the Europa conflict?" Another replied, "Maybe she's at the wrong event." Emma's chest tightened. How could she not be on the list? She'd flown 12 hours from a deployment in the Pacific Fleet just to make it here. Ryan himself had texted her weeks ago, "Wouldn't be right without you, sis." "Try Hayes," she said again, forcing her voice steady. "Commander Emma Hayes, Pacific Command." The ensign hesitated. "I'm sorry, Commander. Orders are clear. If you're not listed, I can't admit you." Emma looked past him toward the grand entrance. Inside, she could see the marble lobby, shimmering chandeliers, and a sea of white uniforms. Her family was in there. Her colleagues, too. Everyone who mattered in the fleet. The embarrassment hit harder than she expected. After everything, years of service, wounds that hadn't fully healed, medals earned in silence, she wasn't even welcome at her brother's big day. She straightened her back, trying to maintain dignity as she turned to leave. "Understood, Ensign," she said quietly. But before she could take a single step, a deep, commanding voice rang out across the courtyard, a voice she hadn't heard in months but would recognize anywhere. "Hold that gate." Conversations froze. The ensign straightened to attention instantly. Heads turned toward the hall's entrance as a man in full dress white strode forward, Captain Ryan Hayes himself, jaw set, eyes locked on her. Emma froze mid-step, her heart pounding. Her brother, the man of the hour, had just interrupted his own ceremony. The sound of Ryan's voice rolled across the courtyard like thunder. Every conversation stopped. Even the guards froze in place as Captain Ryan Hayes, crisp white uniform gleaming with medals, strode through the open double doors of the ceremonial hall. He wasn't smiling. His steps were sharp, purposeful, echoing against the polished marble. The morning light caught the gold insignia on his chest, the marks of a man seconds away from being named Admiral. Emma stood perfectly still, her breath caught halfway between relief and dread. The last time she saw her brother was at their father's funeral, 2 years of silence since. Their careers had taken them to opposite ends of the world, he into politics and command, she into the dangerous unknowns of frontline missions. "Sir," the ensign stammered, snapping to attention. "Apologies, Commander Hayes isn't on the list." Ryan cut him off with a raised hand. His voice was calm but carried the steel of authority. "She's not on the list," he repeated. "That's because she is the list." A ripple of confusion swept through the crowd. Guests began whispering. A few reporters near the steps craned their necks to see what was happening. Ryan stepped closer, his gaze softening as it met hers. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his tone rising, "allow me to correct an oversight." He gestured toward Emma. "This woman isn't just a guest. She's Commander Emma Hayes, correction, Admiral Emma Hayes of the United Earth Fleet." The air went electric. A stunned silence, followed by the sharp clatter of cameras. The ensign's eyes widened. Admiral," he repeated, voice trembling. Emma's throat tightened. She hadn't told anyone about the field promotion. The fleet had made it official only 6 weeks ago after her rescue operation on the Orpheus outpost. It was classified until recently. Even she hadn't gotten used to the title yet. Ryan turned toward the guests who had started to whisper. "My sister," he said proudly, "was promoted for saving 43 of our own in deep space combat. She fought through fire, debris, and vacuum to bring her crew home. While we were safe behind desks, she was out there keeping the fleet alive." The applause started slowly, hesitant, unsure, then grew like a rising tide. Officers stood, civilians followed, and soon the entire courtyard thundered with clapping hands. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. Her cheeks flushed with emotion she couldn't control. She wanted to say something, to protest, to tell him this was his day, but words wouldn't come. Ryan walked up to her, stopping just a step away. He smiled, the same crooked smile he'd had since they were kids. "You didn't really think I'd let them forget you, did you?" he said softly, just for her to hear. She shook her head, half laughing, half crying. "You're impossible. And you're late," he teased. "Admirals shouldn't keep their brothers waiting." The crowd laughed, breaking the tension. The ensign saluted, blushing with embarrassment. "Permission to update the list, Admiral Hayes?" Emma managed a smile. "Granted, ensign." Ryan extended his arm to her. "Come on, sis. It's time you took your place, next to me." As they walked through the archway together, the massive glass doors closed behind them with a soft echo. Inside, the light of honor reflected off their medals, casting a golden shimmer across the hall. And for the first time in years, Emma Hayes didn't feel like a shadow. She felt seen, and finally, home. The hall stood in reverent silence as Emma and Ryan entered side by side. Every pair of eyes followed them, admirals with rows of stars, young officers in fresh uniforms, civilian dignitaries in immaculate suits. The air was thick with awe and disbelief. The sound of their footsteps echoed across the marble floor, steady, synchronized, confident. Ryan guided her toward the front, where a sea of flags framed the grand stage. Behind them hung a massive emblem of the United Earth Fleet, its golden wings glimmering under the chandeliers. Emma could feel the weight of the moment pressing on her chest. She had faced gunfire, survived space decompression, and commanded rescue ops under pressure, but nothing compared to standing here, in front of 1,000 people, as her brother turned the spotlight on her. She tried to fade behind him, to let him take the stage. But Ryan wasn't having it. He turned to the audience, voice resonant and strong. "Before we begin today's ceremony," he said, "there's someone in this room who deserves more recognition than I do." A ripple of curiosity passed through the crowd. A few senior officers exchanged puzzled glances. Ryan continued, "When I joined the fleet, there was already a Hayes in uniform. She was tougher, smarter, and 5 years ahead of me. I spent my whole career trying to catch up." Laughter rippled gently through the audience, but Ryan's tone softened. "Admiral Emma Hayes, my sister, risked her life to save 43 crew members on the Orpheus outpost. She didn't just save a ship. She saved hope. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be standing here today." He stepped aside and gestured toward her. At first, Emma didn't move. Her throat tightened, her pulse thundered in her ears. She could feel hundreds of eyes on her, not out of gossip or doubt, but admiration. Then, something shifted. One by one, officers began to rise. A captain near the front row straightened and saluted. Then another. And another. Within seconds, the hall erupted, the sound of boots striking the floor in unison, the synchronized salute of an entire fleet honoring one of their own. The applause was deafening. Emma's vision blurred. She blinked rapidly, fighting back tears. Her knees felt weak, but Ryan's steady hand on her shoulder kept her grounded. He leaned closer, whispering just enough for her to hear over the applause. "I read your mission logs. You didn't just save lives, Emma. You saved faith in what we do." She swallowed hard, her voice trembling. "You didn't have to do this. It's your day." He smiled, proud, not of his medal, but of her. "It's our day." The applause didn't fade, it grew louder, rolling like waves across the hall. Admirals saluted, cadets cheered, and even the stoic fleet commander smiled with approval. For years, Emma had lived in Ryan's shadow, the famous younger brother, the media darling, the face of every recruitment poster. But right now, she realized something: Ryan had never seen her as competition. She'd been the one comparing. As the applause finally subsided, she stood tall, her chest full of quiet pride. For the first time in her life, she wasn't fighting to be noticed. She was standing beside someone who had always noticed her, even when she didn't believe it herself. The applause finally settled, replaced by the faint hum of air vents and the gentle flutter of flags above the grand stage. Ryan and Emma stood side by side under the warm light, a pair of uniforms that carried more scars, victories, and memories than anyone could guess from their calm expressions. The master of ceremonies cleared his throat, clearly flustered by the unscripted turn of events. "Captain, soon-to-be Admiral, Ryan Hayes," he began, "and Admiral Emma Hayes, everyone." The crowd responded with renewed applause, softer this time, reverent, a sound of respect, not spectacle. Ryan stepped up to the podium. His posture was perfect, the stance of a leader born from years of command. But when he spoke, his voice carried something rare for a military ceremony: heart.